I'm Van.
I'm Sori.
That's Booey.
And Vita and Chip and Culpy.
All right, so Damon Sage, you bum. We're taking your word for it that this is a main stage band. I've never heard. I feel like this is an underground band, but Damon is finding his way to whatever. But anyway, this is.
Well,
Candle.
it doesn't sound popular, but
Yeah, I've never heard of these people. Candlebox. And supposedly this is a main stage band. We were arguing about whether to do this because I'm like, this is not no main stage band.
yeah.
But then
what? I was like, trust Damon. He put in another one that was good.
What was it? The Tenacious D guy.
Yeah.
He apparently, that was a huge one for us. So I guess we're gonna have to trust.
What about that meatball one?
It's meatloaf. I don't know why you keep calling it meatball.
I don't know. Because both are equally ridiculous. Meatball, meatloaf.
Well, that was one we were doing like for a specific person, so I'm not worried about that.
Oh, I thought that they had also suggested that, but yeah, okay.
I know, they were at a 75 tier on Patreon, so
yeah,
like that's fine, but anyway. Alright, so this is Candlebox. I'm pulling up the lyrics here because this freaking computer is a disaster. And it's called, what is it called?
Surrendering.
If you want to see timely topical commentary, you can look at me at Middle America at Vin and Sori. Mm-hmm. We've got a brand new one hot off the presses. I'll say this, it's my favorite one that I've done.
It is has some surprising turns.
Yeah. A lot of twists and turns.
Yeah.
Alright. Shout out to all my Nigerian MAGA hat wearing racists.
Stop it, baby.
Here comes Trump 2020.
If you want to see what goes on behind the scenes with us, check out My Story Life.
Alright.
And you will see some of the happenings.
Let's do it.
And go.
In the need of someone to confide, surrendering, 'cause I'm not as strong as you'd think, uncommonly. This desire fight, surrendering. 'Cause I'm not as strong as you'd think.
Oh, that's good. Yes, I liked that. What? You didn't like it?
Well, let's talk about it. Go for it.
I loved it. Well, I thought it was relatable too, you know, like, I'm in the need of someone to confide, surrendering. Well, I always used to feel like that because I was always like the strong one, and then everybody would like lean on me, and
Right.
then I met you, who probably it feels in the same situation, but now I have somebody to lean on.
That's good
But
for you.
you don't.
What do you mean? I have a lot.
I liked the part where it was saying, well, this part was interesting. I can't believe that you were ever on my side, but who holds the keys of who I am and why this life? Which to me, like, that's God. Like, I want to be free. This is this indecision from all sides. You need to dig deep because you see that. I just thought he was talking about, you know, like, he talks about like when the older you are, like the more you think stuff through and the more you realize you don't know. Like, you probably don't feel that way. Do you ever feel that way?
You don't know what?
You just, like, when you're young, like, you know how the kids, they know it all.
Right.
They know everything. There's, like,
Right.
no subject they don't know all of. And so, like, that's, like, the foolishness of youth is just that you think you know everything. But then as you grow and you see, like, you don't know everything. It's important to ask somebody who does know, who's an expert on a subject, you know, like you don't walk into there, you know, when you have your abortion discussions and stuff like that, like you don't walk in there claiming like you've been in the room when an abortion is taking place. You go to the experts and you quote what they say, you know what I mean? Like, but
Right.
that's because you don't know, because you haven't been there. You have to go to the experts.
Right.
So that's part of like something that happens as you grow. You realize, wait a minute, I don't know everything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems that the relationship is important to him because he says I cover up better than most. So that's why he
You
says,
thought this was about a relationship?
well, yeah, he says, I can't believe you were ever on my side.
Yeah, I just thought that was one piece of the song.
Yeah, it seemed to me I'm in the need of someone to confide, surrendering, because I'm not as strong as you'd think.
Yep.
Uncommonly, the desire that holds our eyes will need to dig deep.
Yep.
So he's looking in the eyes of somebody else, and they need to dig deep. You see that I can't but reason I cover up better than most. I cover up better than most. So he's saying that he's very good at creating those external walls, but he's gonna give it a shot and not have those with this particular person. That's how I interpreted it.
That's not how I did.
How did you interpret it?
I mean, I don't go word for word like you do. I pick out pieces of it. So it was just a person that has some strength about them, and you know, people are always confiding in. They're like, I'm not as strong as I look like I am. I need somebody to confide in. But then I can't believe you were ever on my side. I just see that. Then I'm not thinking about the song. I think about you, because there was like times where we were talking about this the other night, where I was saying like, I always thought you were gonna like flip on me, like when everything was like crashing down in my life. I'm like, literally, Vin's the only one that can see that what's going on is bad. Like everybody else is like, well,
Yeah.
you know. So like, I would feel like that, like I can't believe you're on my side, and it wasn't just like you were my friend, and so that's why it was important to me that you could see stuff for the evil that it was, but it was important too because of how, you know, being raised in this like hierarchy of like men, women, and like that it's there wasn't like an equality, like you always, so like having like a man saying this is wrong was like, well, finally, because you can find women that will say, well, that's messed up, you know,
Right.
but even those were hard to come by, you know, for me. But so I just thought of you at that part, and then I thought of you for like a second, and then I thought of God, because I'm like, sometimes I really feel like, you know, I think about like, you know, who I am as a person, and like as you grow older, like when you're a kid, you know, you have less things that you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, man. you know, but as you grow, the more time you're on the planet, the more stupid stuff you do that you're like, so like just thinking like, well, when God is on your side, he's on your side, you know?
Right.
And so sometimes it's kind of like an unbelievable thing that like God can see me for all of who I am and still be on my side.
Right.
So
right.
That's what I kind of went to.
Right, and of course, the crazy thing about our perspective is that God can be on your side, and that doesn't necessarily have to be against the person that's against you.
Yeah.
He can be fully on their side too.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of cool, because with human beings we have these limitations where you can't have those types of relationships.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But yeah, it seems that he was looking for it. It seems like the relationship didn't work out, because he goes, could somebody please give me something to hold, something to numb while I'm feeling alone? Beginning to think that the older we get, the more we think,
The less we know.
the less we know.
See again, this was just about like a person, and then he's saying, you know, give me something to hold or something to numb. Why am I feeling alone? But at the same time, he knows why he's feeling alone, because he's the person that people confide in, and he doesn't get to confide in people.
Well, where do you get that he's a person people confide in?
Only because at the beginning he said, I'm in the need of someone to confide, surrendering. I'm not as strong as you'd think. So I just thought that was, you know, he's saying, well, I need somebody to confide in. And then he's saying, I'm not as strong as you think, which that's what led me to believe that, well, why would people think that he was strong? And what would people do if they saw a strong person? When somebody sees a strong person, then they confide in them.
Yeah, that's always been a criticism of me, and I'm very guarded, and I don't talk about things or whatever.
Mm-hmm. You have like pockets of time where all of a sudden you'll...
Well, yeah, I mean, there are times that I'll talk to you about stuff, but a lot of times I like to handle things internally. I don't think that makes a person necessarily strong or weak. It's just the way that you handle it. I don't think not talking to somebody means that you're strong. I just think people have different ways of processing. Like, I never thought to myself, oh, I'm not talking to so-and-so about my problems. That means I'm stronger than them. I just looked at it as some people are external processors and have to talk about it, and there's other people that don't. Like, to me, you know, I don't like talking through stuff. Like, I like to just put stuff in my head and put them in my boxes and leave them alone. Most of the time with me, when people, we've had this conversation where it's like, oh, don't you want to talk, blah, 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 talk about it? And I'm like, if I did, it'd be more for you than me, because...
You want me to talk about it.
Right. Those conversations are not helpful to me, you know?
Well, there used to be times where you would talk through stuff and you'd be like, I'm really glad I got a chance to talk this through. So it's not like it never, like...
Well, yeah, it's not like it never happens. It's just most of the time I process it internally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
for sure.
You know, my friends or whoever, they always interpret that as, you know, some sort of rejection of them, or me saying I don't need them or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never understood that. I can never comprehend that. I don't know what that means. What do you mean I'm rejecting? Because I'm not telling you what's bothering me?
Well,
I understand that.
Have I ever used words like that?
You've never.
I'm like, I don't feel like
you
rejected.
just have a heart. You just don't know what to do.
Yeah. I want to help. So I'm like, there's obviously a problem here. But I feel better, like, when I talk to you. I don't necessarily feel better when I talk to other people. Most times, I don't feel better when I talk to other people, because I feel like now my business is out. And I'm like, and then I obsess over the fact that people can't keep secrets. Like...
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you can, though. Like, I never told you something that all of a sudden, like, came back to me from somebody else.
Yeah.
Like that, you know. And, you know, you don't, like, tell me other people's private information that they tell you. So that, like, shows, like, what type of person you are.
Well, the term confide is a compound word of two Latin words, right? Con
in faith
is with, right?
Yeah.
And then fide is faith. So
yeah.
Confide is somebody that you have faith in, or with faith.
Yeah.
I'm saying this to you with faith that you're going to keep it between me and you. That's what confide means. But, you know, So I think when you don't confide in people, people interpret that as you're saying you don't have faith in them.
Yeah.
Which is true, I don't. I don't have faith in people. That's why I keep it usually between me and God. Because it's like, I don't have faith that regular human beings are going to be able to figure out my problem. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like the most traction I've ever gotten is when God and I have had to wrestle through things, and I write it out, and
Yep.
and you know, I legitimately have been able to, like that whole situation with my mom, like that's not something I talk through with anybody.
Oh yeah.
It's just something that I was praying about, I was going back and forth with about, or writing about, and God was like made it clear and clear what needed to happen, and I said what I had to say to her, and
Yep.
you know, I ended up being in the best situation of my brothers as far as handling that goes.
Right.
So it's like,
Right, for sure.
so stuff like that happens, I'm like,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But there's all this, you know, different interpretations of what's happening by people. Well, you're stuffing it, you're doing that, you're hiding it, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not stuffing it. I'm very, very real when I talk to God about
Well,
it.
yeah, but maybe that's because you're like you said, you're an internal processor, so you think stuff through and you're working through stuff and you like figure stuff out about your, like other people are like, there's like things that I don't see like necessarily as an issue, and then when I can talk it through, then all of a sudden you get another perspective where you're like, oh yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you don't want to like think of, it's easy to remember the flaws and failures of other people, but like we conveniently forget our own, like.
Right.
And I say conveniently because I really do think that we forget it. Like it's not like I'll like think through something and I'll be like, yeah, but I did this thing and that thing, and that would kind of steer me to think that I'm like having this issue or whatever.
Right.
Like those thoughts don't even come to say, oh, I'm not gonna think about that. I'm just gonna think that I have no issues. Like that means like you really put those things aside, and I think a lot of people do that. So I think when you can talk to somebody else, you know, I mean, we've talked to hundreds of people where they thought they didn't have an issue and they had this glaring issue. You know what I mean? Like, it's like so obvious. It's like, how can you not see that? And so I think a lot of times that's what happens is you just, you know, you can talk through something with a counselor or with somebody that you know like loves you and is looking out for your best or whatever, and then you can kind of come to some kind of a conclusion. But maybe you do that internally where you just...
But I do think with somebody other than me, that a lot of relationships function that way, where they confide in each other. And,
yeah.
you know. Mm-hmm. So I think it's hard for you because you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like that.
Yeah.
And then I think to myself, well, should I be like that? You know, is it a growth thing? And then I'm like, why is all this virtue attached to talking versus not talking? You know what I mean? Like, if you're not a talker, it's like, oh, you're strong and you can handle everything yourself. But if you are a talker, that means that you value community and you value other people and da-da-da-da. Like, why is there a virtue attached to either one of them instead of just saying, okay, well, so-and-so is internal and so-and-so is external.
Yeah.
And voila.
Yeah.
But then I think to myself, you know, maybe there's something I'm missing. I don't know. So, I mean, when you move around a lot like I did, you don't have the opportunity for a lot of close friendships where that would be a situation anyway. And our default was to not talk to people. So it'd be like, why were the cops at your house? So I'm not gonna say because my mom and my stepdad got an altercation and my older brother called the police. I'm not gonna say that. I was just not. So you know, we were just used to keeping everything like,
right.
like to the chest, and I've always been like that. You know, like, and then you move around, you don't develop all these friendships with people. So it's like we all had to figure stuff out. I remember one time, like, we had to call the ambulance, and my mom was, you know, we put her in I was in the 5th grade. In Palm Bay, Florida. We put her in the ambulance, and then we were just by ourselves. And I remember it was
football, right?
Yeah, it was the Chargers versus the San Francisco 49ers, and Steve Young threw like an 85-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Rice in the opening drive, and I was like, you know, and we just sat there, and that's the big thing that I remember was that football game. And then my little brother went to the room by himself because he wasn't really interested in football. And me and my older brother just watched the game, and we never talked about the glaring issue, which is, are we going to see Mom again? I didn't know if we were going to see her again. We didn't know. She was saying goodbye to us and all this stuff. So it was like, you know, so we just sat there and watched the football game. And then my older brother put us both to bed, made us go to bed, woke us up for school.
He took some, how old was he?
14, 15?
Took some real responsibility.
My older brother, man, he was crazy. He was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. Yeah, he was the only one there, and he really took the man of the house thing seriously. He put us to bed. It's crazy because we listened to him, which was weird, especially me, you know.
Yeah.
And he woke us up. I was like, "Come on, Junior, man!" Like, you know, I was trying to say, you know, Mom, like, get to school. There we go.
Get to school.
Yeah, Mr. Lipinski's class. There we go. So.
Wow.
You know,
for him.
we didn't talk.
He was a blessing to you guys,
oh
for sure.
My
That's
gosh.
for sure.
Yeah, he was my older brother, superhero. But we didn't talk about it. We've never talked about it ever. That day, we've never talked about it.
It's interesting how sometimes like an older sibling will take the role of like, they really take the responsibility seriously as I'm an older sibling and I'm going to take care of the younger ones.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where they just think that they're the shit because they're the older one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. My older brother never had that opportunity.
Yeah.
Never had the opportunity to go around and be a regular whatever.
Yeah.
And he was also taking care of my mom. You
Yeah.
know, like he was the one that called the ambulance. So,
Right.
like, yeah.
So do you think it's situational?
What do you mean?
What environment produces what type of oldest?
Nah, my brother's just like that. He's just like, I mean, look what he's doing now. I mean, he's just,
Yeah.
he's always just been like that. Some people, there's just some things that some people are born with,
Yeah.
you know, but.
So, my sister wasn't like, she didn't like take care of me or take me under her wing or anything like that. Of course, she wasn't a whole lot older than me, and there's a 15-month difference. She's more like that now. You know, she's coming over to wash down the whole bathroom because she knows I can't use bleach. She's gonna bring some supper. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she does it more now than when we were kids.
Yeah, there's 3 years between me and my brother, but he might as well be 20, 30 years older than me as far as how we relate to each other. Like, he's, you know,
Yeah.
he's kind of like the father figure type
Yeah.
thing.
That's cute.
But we, you know, but it was weird because we never had the conversation.
Right.
At halftime, he ordered pizza. He ordered Pizza Hut. It was my favorite, so he got Pizza Hut. You know, he was the Papa John's guy.
Aw.
And we didn't talk about it.
That's wild.
And it wasn't like I wanted to talk about it and he cut it off. We just didn't talk about it. We were just talking about how boring the game was because it was a freaking blowout. And yeah,
That's wild.
that's the long and the short of it. You know, Junior Seau was on the Chargers. I mean, I pretty much remember that entire opening drive. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, so I always think to myself, well, it's been working for me. So as long as back as I can remember. So, you know, why should I change it? Then I say to myself, yeah, but not a lot of people grew up the way that we grew up. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
I especially didn't.
That's why, you know, the guy is saying the more you think, the less you know, right?
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, well, that's true. Nobody did.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, but then, you know, I've been in, you know, on teams with people who all had similar backgrounds and
Yeah.
a bunch of crazy stuff happened and nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
Spin back up and we're out.
Yeah.
You alive? I'm alive. All right, good. No one to say never mind that whatever. So I don't know. I hope for your sake that eventually I become more talkative because I feel like that would make you feel better. So I hope that, you know, I end up finding some real value in it so that you can.
I mean, I think about it too. I think, well, geez, like, first I think, geez, it would be good to, you know, have more emotional conversations. How are you feeling? What, you know, like, your feelings. Like, it's all like, you know. And then I think about, there was another girl that used to talk to me that she'd been married longer than me, and her husband was a lot older than her, and she would say, he doesn't share his emotions with me. Like, she's like, he just keeps that back from me. And then it really, really was bothering her. And I like felt sad for her when she was talking about it. But then at the same time, I was thinking, well, because my husband at the time, he didn't talk about his feelings, really. Like, now I look back, I'm like, and at the time I was like, he's not really talking about his feelings either. It's not like, you know, so then, you know, and then it turned out it wasn't, I mean.
What?
Well, he was cheating on her and talking to this other woman and stuff. So then it makes it worse, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because it's like, well, you wouldn't share your emotions with me. Well, no wonder you weren't sharing your emotions with me. You were sharing it with her. You know, so.
Is that really what she thought?
Well, after, yeah, when she found the messages and stuff.
Oh, well, yeah, that'll do it.
So then it's like, well, no wonder he didn't want to talk.
I think, probably an offline conversation, but is that your concern if I were to talk to, you know, somebody else or other people, that I'm going to have one of those relationships where I start talking about that stuff?
Probably, because like there are times where like I think that you're talking to somebody and they'll like bring up, and you know, we can delete this if you want to, but they'll, can you hear that yelling?
Yeah.
They'll like talk about, you know, something that's going on in their life that's traumatic or whatever, and then you're relating with them, so then you tell them things that I'm like, shit, I didn't know that about him.
Right.
So when stuff like that happens, I'm like,
right. But you realize it's not me like venting, it's just me saying, yeah, I've been through that too.
no, I don't. I kind of go back and forth. I'm like, oh, maybe he needed an outlet to talk about that, but he can't talk about it with me, or you know. And then I'm like, well, no, it's situational. He had to say that because, you know, he's relating with the person. So it's kind of like one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine.
And you know how I am with conspiracies. There's so many that you can have. But then I think to myself, well, no. And then like, it's like a big conversation. Yeah. Then I'll say to myself, well, no, like, I know what this is. Like, it's not like, you know, you like reached out to the person to bear your emotions, you know, pour out your heart and emotions to the person. Like, you know, you're checking up on the person's talking, that's good. Like, you're helping them and the whole thing makes sense. And then I think about that one, there was a time, I can't really tell you like what, like where we were or what we were even talking about, but I remember you saying, and it's like, it's so clear in my head, like I can hear like the tone of your voice. You were just telling me like, it doesn't help me. Like, it's so much worse for me to have to talk about these things that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
And so, like, since then, I think to myself, wow, who is it for, really? Yeah. And then I think, well, I'm telling myself it's for you. But then I'm like, but if it really is, he doesn't want to talk about it. So then it's, right. If I push for that, then it's for me. It's not really for him.
Well, yeah, I remember the specific conversation when that happened.
You do.
Yeah.
I mean, I can guess.
What do you give the song?
It was a 9 for me. I liked it.
That's a 6 for me.
6?
I thoroughly disenjoyed it.
Why?
I just... I didn't enjoy it at all. Didn't enjoy the song at all. It's just... it was like a song that you'd hear in like some, you know, bar.
I like it.
Wasn't that so? 6 for me.
9 for me.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.